Cool. All right. Base game reviews 2025 was a busy year. I'm back here with my co-host Max Deshaw. Max, we were just talking like, how the hell are you? How are things?
We good. Taking a little break from new games. Well, we'll get into that more. Most of my 2025 was taking a break from new games, but yeah, I'm chilling. I'm playing some DS games actually. Three
Sick.
DS games in the last couple of weeks. So just taking a little reset before we dive headfirst into 2026, and
Yeah.
just spend a bunch of hours on some exciting new titles.
That's crazy. You know what? I just heard that the 3DS has like skyrocketed in price again for whatever reason. And I was like, oh, is there something new, like a new exploit or something? Because those have already been like moddable or jailbreakable for like
Oh
a
yeah,
while now. So
yeah,
it's crazy how these like doesn't it hurt to say, but like these retro consoles, but
yeah,
yes, it's like 10 years old.
yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, they just like they go for these insane prices, and you're just like, oh man, I wish I held on to that PS2 that I got, but I left it in a garage somewhere. This was a year that, because the last couple of years I was like, I'm gonna play the most games that I possibly can in a fiscal year, and I would crush. Like I remember in 2024, I crushed like 55 games. I'm not talking like I played for an impressions. I'm talking like I started and I didn't stop until the credits rolled.
Yeah.
And then what I got out of that is like, sure, I got this big impressive list, but like I really didn't enjoy any of it. Like I didn't really get to like absorb myself in the game. So this year I was like, I'm gonna play games, I'm gonna do everything that I possibly can in the game and really absorb it and then see how that goes. And I did feel like I got like a lot more out of the games that I played this year than I did in previous years. So that's why my list wasn't that crazy. I wrote as many reviews as possible. Some of them I didn't write reviews for, but we can talk about that in a second. But crazy 2025.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Like more quality over quantity, right? And
Yeah.
just, taking your time.
And also when you just bum rush a game to the credits, like, I don't know, like you miss out on a lot. Like, yeah, some side content you can leave or like be without, but I don't know, you do miss a lot when you just go straight to the credits. You're just like, I'm not learning anything. I'm gonna spam the same attack that I started off with, and then that's it. It's gonna get me through the whole game. But yeah, I'm stoked to go into this. So for those of you who don't know, basegamereviews.com is a website that we run, and we actually have a built-in feature where you could see all of our scores, and you could see like our score. Like we did a lot of nerdy stuff, and we made it so like you can really see how nitty-gritty we go into. I love, Max, have you noticed this? Like a lot of the comments that we get on the videos, they're like, why are there so many numbers? They're just like, why can't you just stick to a 10 out of 10? Like there's too many numbers coming up on screen, and you're like,
there's too much nuance.
Yeah.
People just want a 9 out of 10 and that's it.
Yeah.
And
we're just like,
I haven't seen that.
Oh, there's been quite a few of those comments. Well, I read them. But I'm so tempted to just be like, yeah, because we're not stupid. That's why. Like, because like you said, we have nuance to these scores, and we put a lot of time into our scoring system. Like, it's not just something that we whipped up overnight. Like, this is years of us like tinkering with it and being like, oh, what about this? What about this? And then we finally landed on something that we're happy with.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want people to know that like, we literally spent a good year or more just between you and I, like sharing reviews amongst each other, giving each other feedback, refining our system before we're like, okay, let's take this thing live. And like,
yeah,
feels like we really put our work and our time in, and and we tested out, we play tested our review system, if you will, right? So it's awesome. I'm proud of it.
Exactly. I feel the exact same way. That being said, let's go right into it. So for those of you who don't know, we always have different main sections of our review. It's not just like a conglomerate. So each section is worth about 20 points. Well, the main story section is always worth 20 points, and then graphics is worth 15, audio is worth 15, gameplay is the big one because we feel like gameplay is the most important part of a video game, and that's why it's out of 40 points. And then we usually have a bonus, which is like 3 extra points. The bonus is more for like a way to go. It shouldn't sway a score like either way. That way you can't be too biased on the game, because there are some amazing, incredible games that have no accessibility options. They have no there no like color options for people that are colorblind. There are no additional audio options. There is nothing. And then they're amazing. And there are some absolute dog water games that have amazing accessibility options. And you're like, wow, that was like the only thing you did do. Like, so we have these different sections. We're gonna start off with a big one, story. So story is out of 20 points.
So I compiled a list of which you and I, our top scores for the games that we personally played this year. We've got our nominees for story are Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Jusant, Monster Hunter Wilds, God of War 2018, and the Resident Evil 4.
Let's all give a shout out to Max for teaching us how to properly pronounce Jusant. Like, I remember when I played that, I was like, oh, Jusant, like, or something stupid like that. I knew it was French, but like, I bring shame to my French background. But yeah, this Jusant, like, I love it. That's a monster list of games. Like, I was really pumped because when I played God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, I did it to prove a point to a certain audience, and I really didn't like enjoy the game. But it was cool seeing that game through Max's eyes and just like his genuine experience with it. What were your big standouts for the year for story?
Yeah, honestly, I was critical of God of War 2018, but I thought the story was solid. The character development, the bond between the father and the son, the pacing, just the different beats that it hit. I thought that was, for me, that was a standout game. But my personal choice was Jusant for the year, hands down. That's
crazy. Like, okay, so I played Jusant and I liked it a lot. I thought it was it was like, I don't know how, but it made rock climbing fun. And it's like, like the death grip that you had to have at certain points when you're trying to figure out like certain ways to traverse and stuff. And I really agreed with Max's review because I thought they did a lot with environmental storytelling. And I love that type of storytelling. I hate it when it's just all like dumped down on you in front of you and just like spoon fed to you. And I just love, because I think there's absolutely zero dialogue in that entire game. Is there even a narration?
No, there's no subtitles. There's no nothing. It's
So a lot of people say like, oh, that's like, you could tell that's an indie studio or like a game's got no money when they have like no dialogue or anything. And it's like, yeah, that is true in some cases, but I feel like this was like a stylistic choice. And I feel like it really worked out. And the way that they were able to convey emotions and feelings with just sound and environment, I thought was really stellar. And I thought it was a really beautiful experience when I played Jusant when it came out. That's crazy. That's your story of the year. I love that though.
For me, just one thing I want to say about it. I think it's not so much the story, but it's how the game tells the story.
Yes.
It's the particular like perspective where you aren't actually the main character in a sense. You are reliving through the footsteps of people that were there before. Through these notes and the environmental storytelling, and it's just like, ooh, it just gives me chills talking about it. It was so unique. So unique.
And that's the thing too. Like, a lot of people, they always confuse like story. They're like, oh, like they think like certain things have to happen for it to be like a really good story, or like for you to like score a story really well. And creativity goes a long way. Like creativity and just things that you haven't seen in a while or ever, or just like things that subvert expectations in a good way. Like there's always like the types of stories where you can tell they're trying way too hard and they just want to subvert expectations for the sake of subverting expectations, and you see it coming a mile away and you're just like, I don't know. And I thought it was really cool that a lot of games this year kind of went back to basics, and that's going to segue into my obvious story winner, which was Expedition 33. So I'm going to tell you, I did not start out just glazing this game. So when it first came out, everyone was glazing it right off the rip, and I was like, there's no way this game could be that good. And I thought it was just one of those games that was cool for everyone to just really glaze super hard. And then I went into it like frowny face. I was like, I'm going to find all the stupid things in this game. And I instantly was like, oh my God, this game is so good. Like everything, the music is so, I still listen to the OST of that game all the time. I have a French background, but I'm not like huge French, but like the game is just so unapologetically French. And I love that about it. And I love that it just focuses on core story elements, which are like dealing with loss and like how to like keep moving forward even in the face of annihilation, and just like the struggle of humankind. And it's just, and like, yeah, I don't know, like it didn't have like one of those points where it's like, oh, they're throwing in a modern trope. Like they're just like, oh, we want to focus on this because it's happening in like everyday kind of like news and stuff. And I thought that was so refreshing. And all of the characters, like you love them all. Like they become your friends. And I miss that because there's just so many games where you're like, you don't even like the lead character. You're like, dude, I don't like this person. And then like, or like the side characters come in. You're like, I don't care if they die. Like they could die in the next scene. I really don't care. And this game just had so many good characters. They were so well written. And to see it come from like a small team was just like massive. And it really sucks because there were some other games this year that came out that had really good stories, like Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2, really good story, but what weighed it down for me was like it was treading a lot of the same ground that the first Death Stranding did, but just done a little bit better. And I was just like, like, yeah, this is really good, but also the gameplay, which we'll get into later, kind of got in the way of things for me to have my opinion. And that's what definitely led me to still picking Expedition 33 out of all those amazing games that came out this year.
Love it. Let's move over to graphics next, and I will read the nominees. We've got Ghost of Yote, Expedition 33, Death Stranding, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Visions of Mana, Battlefield 6, and Fires of Rubicon.
Nice. I love seeing
very
there.
yes. So just real quick side note, a lot of the nominees and games that I'm personally going to be talking about are not games that were released this year. I spent a lot of my time just playing whatever the hell I felt like it. That's why you're going to see like the Resident Evil 4 remake probably come up again in the nominees and God of War 2018. So just a little, anyhow, really some really impressive looking games this year. Why don't you go first on this one?
Yeah, so I find it more and more difficult to rate games on their graphics because so many games just look so amazingly stellar these days. Totally. I find it like it just gets increasingly harder to be like to differentiate between like what is a bad game now, like what are bad graphics, what are like exceptional graphics, what is a 5 out of 5 for a lot of these things. And I definitely see that like we are pushing the bar when it comes to like how high fidelity a lot of things can get. And then because for me there's always like the two trains of thought. There's like the super high fidelity, and then there's like the super well done art design, and and then like who can like merge the two, or like who relies on one more than the other. So out of those games, like Expedition 33, there were definitely times I was just like, this doesn't look that good. Like this, like my character kind of looks like a Barbie doll. Like it looks like, I don't know. But then there's parts where like the art design really takes over, and you're just like, oh god, this game is so beautiful. And then games like Death Stranding 2, like I was really impressed. I was like, wow, this game is super high fidelity. Right. Everything just looks like I'm just watching real life in a lot of instances. And then there's just like games that are like a treat on the eyes, like Battlefield 6 and like other games that I played this year that were just like, they were really good, but they just didn't do anything exceptional. But this is a really good mix, and it just shows you like we don't favor one or the other. We don't favor like super hyper realistic games. We also like give flowers to games like Sackboy and Visions of Mana, because we do. I personally feel like there is that value in art and just like art design and just how far you could take a certain type of game. So, but definitely it was tough rating graphics this year for sure.
I didn't really put that any better myself when, talking about fidelity versus art design and how both of them are really super important. So really nicely done there. My pick for the year, I think, is going to be Ghost of Yotei. Nice. For the same reason, I think that, that the things that you mentioned about Death Stranding 2, it's just Ghost of Yotei was not my favorite game that I played this year by a long shot, but I mean, it's just undeniably just like stunning, like just literally jaw-dropping stunning. The stuff they pulled off with like the lighting, with shadows, with just like the way that like every single fucking blade of grass moves independently, and it's just like, holy crap, like you said, like, am I looking at real life here? Like, it makes you wonder how much further are we really going to be able to push games before, like how much farther can we really push games? So that game was outstanding. I went out of my way in my review to do some close-ups of like literally just NPCs as well. Like, that game not only made a lot of effort to make the main character look impressive, but like literally everybody, I think, is using like the same character models, just with different clothing on. So like, for them to be able to pack that much like raw just data into the game too is like hyper impressive. Everywhere you look in that game is just like detail, and just very impressive.
I like that when you're playing a game and like all of the main cast look amazing, and then you go to like an NPC that like just sells items and they just look like potato face, and
it's like another console generation behind.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
They just like copy and pasted the PS4 characters and then just left them like, that like. For those games, Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, like that, even I from afar, I hadn't played Yotei, but I played Tsushima. But like, I know those games look great. They look fantastic. They really did a great job of pushing what the PlayStation 5 console was able to do. For me, again, I think I'm like similar to you. It wasn't my favorite game of the year, but I have to give it to Death Stranding 2. Like, I love Expedition 33. I thought a lot of the stuff in that game was like super stunning and beautiful and had great art direction. But like I mentioned earlier, there were moments where I was like, okay, like my player character looks kind of dumb when I rotate the camera around him. But in Death Stranding 2, there are just so many incredible moments in that game. And then just like with the combination of music and soundtrack and dialogue and stuff, like it just like it took me to a whole different level, and I was just like, wow, this game just looks so incredible. And I love the fact that game runs at like a perfect 60 FPS on a base PS5. Like, I didn't have to get the PS5 Pro to be able to play it at 60 FPS, because I'm a huge proponent of games running at 60 FPS this console generation. Like, I think 30 FPS, we should be done with that. Games should at a minimum run at 60. They just run smoother, they feel smoother, they play better. And I was stoked that they did what it took to get the game to run at that, and it was locked the whole time, and it looked incredible. Like, I felt like the first Death Stranding, everyone looked kind of realistic, and I was like, oh, I wonder how far they could push it. And then you look at the second game and you're like, wow, this is definitely better. Like, it's undeniable. Like some big shout outs that I want to give out though, honorable mentions for graphics is I did replay some games that had prior releases but released on PC this year. So I played both Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and playing through Final Fantasy 16 again, god damn, that game is good and it looked fantastic. But my top graphics of the year, definitely Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2, right on. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our audio proponents. So these are the games that we felt had the best ambience, sound design, and then just overall atmosphere that really elevated the games. And the list that Max put together, we've got obviously Expedition 33. We've got Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, so that's crazy. We also have Azusal, and we have Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, fantastic soundtrack. Battlefield 6 and Death Stranding 2. So I'm gonna pass it off to you. You tell me, Mr. Audio Man, what was the big one for you in 2025, and do you have any honorable mentions or any nerdy little things that you want to talk about?
Yeah, definitely. Normally in our reviews, we have we'll talk about OST separately, and then we'll talk about technical audio. For today, we're just sort of combining it into one sort of category. So I do want to mention that my favorite OST of the year was Jusant, hands down. Literally brought me to tears. It was just unreal. French composer. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. I'm so sorry, but absolutely phenomenal soundtrack in that game. But my winner for audio for this year was Fires of Rubicon, for sure.
Nice.
Just how it put everything together, like sound effects, voice acting, the OST. Oh my gosh, it's From Software, which is, one of the things that I think still to this day, unfortunately, is underappreciated about From Software is their audio department. You can go back all the way to Demon's Souls, Miyazaki's first game, and just be like, wow, there's something else going on here that a lot of other games haven't really figured out yet. It's hard to really put a finger on, but yeah, and in Fires of Rubicon, they just nailed everything, man. It's a really, really phenomenal just display of world-class audio design in every single fact.
It's so crazy too. Like, what makes me emotional about that too, when it comes to From Software, because I am a From Software glazer, but when you talk about like Demon's Souls, like when they went from 2 to 3 MIDI instruments being total that would make their OSTs to where they are now, and especially with Armored Core 6, just how cinematic they made it. And then they're known for these gothic European fantasy type games, and then being in that niche for those types of soundtracks, which they do fantastically, to doing a sci-fi modern soundtrack. And the Armored Core games have always had really good soundtracks, and this one's no different. And I don't know, there was just there were so many of especially the boss tracks that just give you so much momentum and so much drive to want to accomplish your mission. Oh, just how they got it to sync with their cinematics, the whole the armored snake, the I'll never miss, so cinematic. You're just oh my god, dude, they just reach a whole nother level. And it's I love that you brought up, it's just there are games to this day that have triple, quadruple, 5 times the budget of any From Software game, and they still haven't figured out a lot of the things that they're doing with sound when it comes to just minimal things, like how your character sounds when you're when you're moving through a hallway, or how your weapons sound, how it ricochets, or I don't know, there's just so many little elements that I love about From Software games. And I really feel the same way, that I don't feel their audio department get the flowers that they deserve, because they're just they're killing it. Even with Elden Ring Night Rain this year, Night Rain has insane tracks that I was pretty offended that at the Game Awards they didn't even get nominated for audio. But
yeah,
that's awesome. Oh man, with Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree being on there, but I have to give it to Expedition 33, because again, Again, the French are killing it. French, all done by the same guy. It's like he's like with this girl. I already forget their name. But you know what's funny is that soundtrack was on my Spotify Wrap this year, and like I crushed so many hours of that soundtrack. It's so good. It like evokes emotion every time I listen to it. Like you said with Jusson. I think of the game. I think of the emotions in the game, and it still gets me every time. And it was just such a great game. Elden Ring Shadow of the Year Tree had like insane boss tracks, but I feel like I gave it its flowers last year or when it came out. So definitely for me, Expedition 33. Honorable mentions though, definitely Elden Ring Night Rain, and surprisingly Arc Raiders has like a really cool sci-fi lo-fi type OST that I'm really digging. But man, I got the Lumineer song right there. It's so good.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's move down to the big boy, the big one, the one that means the most to us.
Yes.
When we talk about gameplay. So I'll read out these nominees for the best gameplay for us in 2025. Again, on there is Expedition 33. We've got Resident Evil 4 Remake, and we got Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, and we also have Battlefield 6 and Resident Evil 4 Remake. So I'll let you kick this one off. Talk to me about some of like the big things that stood out for you. Was there like anything that you noticing in the games that you played this year when it comes to the gameplay, or just like big standouts?
Refinement. I mean, big. I don't think that was. I'm not sure why it was not on our nominees there, but the first one that comes to mind, honestly, is Ghost of Yotei. Again, I have my issues with that game, but I did in my review, give credit where it was due, and I really found that they took what worked in Ghost of Tsushima and just added more cool shit and just sort of tightened up some things. And man, that game just, yeah, when you're in the heat of combat, there is such a nice organic flow to it. Just using all your abilities, putting your weapons together, very, very well done. Just like this dance, this symphony of just, yeah, like it just clicks. It just works really well. So that was a standout for me this year. Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah, like I gotta say that was like my biggest irritant with Ghost of Tsushima was that like I was like, why against bosses do they just like hack your abilities in half and you can't use them? And then people will be like, because of the honor system, you're a samurai. And it's just like, I slit 20 throats on my way here. Like, I cheesed my way to the boss. It's like, what are we doing here? Just let me use all of my abilities. I thought that was stupid. And I don't like it when people make up excuses for developers or for a game, because it's like, you could say that part of the game was a miss, but still say you love that game. Like, those two things can be true. You like, if you give any game criticism, that doesn't mean you hate the game or like that you have to hate the game. It just means that you didn't like that one part of it. And I was really happy to see that in Yotei that they omitted that and you can use your full abilities. And it's like, there we go. Now we're talking. Make your boss fights more dynamic, more. Yeah. I hate it when any game kind of just like hamstrings you for no good reason other than like to limit you for some stupid in-game reason.
It just feels forced. It just feels like it's not even part of the lore or within the context of the universe. It's just like you can just feel the developers literally like putting a wall in front of you, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, you're like, what are we doing here? Like, what
are we doing?
Yeah, like why do I have training wheels on? It's like, take those off. Like I just want to play. So okay, so you could like I don't know why it's not on the list either, but like you can still say that's your gameplay of the year.
I think I will. I was gonna go with Resident Evil 4, which everybody's played at this point. But to just be more relevant and current, and it's more fresh in my mind, obviously. Yeah. And I do think that I really, you touched on a lot of good things there as well about it with the bosses and stuff. That game for sure, like they really dialed in the gameplay. Say what you want about the story, say what you want about what ends, this and that. I mean, the voice acting, It's just they dialed in the gameplay. So well done on their part.
Isn't it shocking that games with like huge budgets, some of the shit that they let slide with the voice acting, you're like, really? You gave you gave that the go ahead? Like you said, okay, we'll use that take. Like, like and then meanwhile, like from software, like someone's gone to Juilliard to just be like, let's fight. And then it's the only line that they get.
Yeah.
And it's like done so good. And then some
you can feel it.
Yeah, you're just like, wow, like has that person even acted before? Like I feel like they're literally just reading off of a loose leaf piece of paper. Like that's crazy. Gameplay for me, big surprise. It's gonna be Expedition 33 because I had a lot of fun with a lot of games this year. Like Night Rain, I've played a shit ton this year. I played Night Rain all summer, basically when it came out. And I'm still playing it when I should be doing other things. But what I really liked about Expedition 33, and this is a controversy that a lot of people are like stirring up with each other. Like a lot of people are like, Expedition 33 isn't like the first turn-based combat game, it's not like there's been tons of turn-based RPGs over the last couple of years. Like they bring up Metaphor ReFantasio and like all those games. It's not that it was turn-based. It was that it was turn-based when turn-based definitely wasn't cool. And they added enough style and pizzazz to it that made it more palatable for the mainstream. So like if you gave like the typical mainstream gamer any type of turn-based combat game, they're gonna be like, no, that's lame. Like we're not doing that. But Expedition 33 somehow bridged that gap and then got people who definitely would not like those games to actually enjoy a turn-based combat game. I did like and hate at the same time the parry ability that they put into Expedition 33. So you could, if you are so super hot gamer girl, like god tier gamer, you could literally just parry every single attack and never take a single hit in the entire game. But there are definitely times where there's enemies like where all you can do is parry because they just have like a 10 hit combo attack that will kill you no matter what. So you have to parry it, or you could just like spam dodge a bunch of times. And I did feel like, although the parry mechanic was refreshing in a turn-based RPG, I did feel like they could have learned some lessons. Like I don't know how, but Sekiro did it so well. Like the deflect mechanic is not there just to eliminate damage, but also to break posture and then to get an instant kill. And it rewards you for getting multiple parries in a row. And it doesn't make it necessary. And a lot of games, they make it necessary or they make it like kind of useless. I don't know. But also Expedition 33, I love that it did have its story moments, but it also was just pure gameplay. It was just like playing PS1 generation Squaresoft games where you're running around in the open world, you're going into battles, you have these like great boss fights, and it was just a delight to have that like incredible mix. And so that's why it really resonated for me. And where other games like Night Rain was insanely awesome gameplay, but it was like, yeah, but I've played Elden Ring before, and this is definitely enhanced in a lot of different ways, but it was cool to get this like different kind of experience, a unique twist on the turn-based RPG combat system. So that's why I'm giving it to Expedition 33.
Yeah, man, I think I'm so like glad that turn-based is still alive, and not only alive, like this game was tremendously well received everywhere, with Final Fantasy taking the real-time route for the last couple of years, and with never looking back at this point. I doubt they'll ever go back to turn-based. It's so cool because for people of our era, like there's a certain sense of nostalgia for sure for like those PS1 Final Fantasies and the great turn-based games with the cast of characters, and it's so cool to see that coming back. So I hope that this sparks another new wave of games. One that I'm personally looking forward to is the next major line, Dragon Quest. release, which I think will be 12, and I'm really hoping that that is also going to be turn-based.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
I don't know why like different companies fear the turn-based combat system. Like honestly, like some of them try to get like too inventive or creative with how they do like the magic and attack system, and I feel like it kind of like takes it away. Like for me personally, like just copy the materia system from FF7. It's so good. And you know what else I missed? Like you just brought up like the old school games. I miss like watching the like insane summon like cinematics when you like when you summon in like Ifrit or something, and you're just like like, or summon Knights of the Round. You're like, okay, let's not do anything for 5 minutes as I watch this cutscene, and it's like, yeah, like add a skip button, but like I don't know, like I missed that. So it was really cool that a turn-based combat game was like in the forefront and just crushed this year. So, but really cool. Gameplay is the most important thing, in my opinion. It's called a video game, not a video watch, or like that's what movies are for, people. So that's why we weigh the gameplay so heavy. That's why it's worth 40 points out of 100. But yeah, super awesome. Are you ready to go on to this the major section here? We're gonna be talking about game of the year for each of us for 2025. I bet you could probably guess mine, but Max, I'm gonna let you kick it off. What was your game of the year for 2025? It didn't have to be one that released in 2025. What was your game of the year that you played this fiscal year in 2025?
A couple months ago, it was Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, and then I played Jusant, and that won me over in literally every measurable way. The soundtrack, the story, the environments, the color palette, just the unique climbing mechanic, just the pacing of it, which is just so different. It's so relaxing. It's just like, it's just a perfect game for in between other big games where you just need to like a vacation, right?
It's like a palate cleanser for sure.
It's a palate cleanser, you know, which is I mean, I had such a good time with that. I played it like, it's not that long of a game. I think it took me 6 hours my first time. So I played it like 3 times back to back over the course of a couple weeks. And yeah, man, just a real achievement from a small indie studio.
Yeah.
Just it's just very not trying to be anything else. You can feel the passion in it. You can feel that the people who made it were having a good time and were creative and were just pouring their love of gaming into this game. Every single where you look and every sound just radiates that. Yeah, Jusant was my game of the year for 2025.
Nice. That's awesome. Like I love that like an indie game like just won you over this year. Mm-hmm. And I also love that you also were giving Armored Core 6 its flowers, because definitely, because that game came out, was it 2023? Yeah, 2023.
Yeah.
And people, like a lot of people didn't play it because they were like, oh, I can't, I don't align with robots fighting each other. Like I need a better. And it's just like, oh my god. I thought for sure that Armored Core 6 would be like, okay, it's just an action game, like it's gonna have a whatever story. It actually had a really good story. Like I was shocked at how deep the story was and how like connected I felt to it. But with Jusant, it's like, again, it really reminded me, and this is dating myself, to this really, really old game that was like my first PC game, and it was called The Neverhood. And it was like this point and click game, and it was all claymation, which is maybe why I kind of connected to, because Jusant is kind of like, it's kind of claymation, but it's not.
It's got like a pastel sort of look going on. Yeah.
But I really liked that game was an art piece. It was definitely they were just like, they did something that, like you said, they were passionate about. You could tell that was like something that they wanted to do, and they enacted their vision, and I love them for that. I think that's so cool that you connected with that game, and that's like what took, like, I feel like too, when I recall you playing it, you were like right in between like some stinkers, and you're just like, I need something else. And then you played that, and it was just like, it was so nice for you to have this like great win and just like play a game that you like.
I was on a not a roll, the opposite of just like a rut of just games that I started and didn't even want to finish.
Yeah,
Didn't even want to do a first impressions of. I was just like so put off by
yeah,
a lot of games this past year. But yeah, no, that one just like came out of nowhere and just like saved me.
yeah. That's so cool. I love that. And I love too, like a good segue is that my game of the year, no shock, Expedition 33. And it's really cool to see that two indie games are big games for 2025. I played a lot of games this year, not as many as I normally would, but I think that's a huge accomplishment. It wasn't some AAA banger. It wasn't like this huge, massive studio that put out the game that had the most impact on us. It was two indie studios. And what did it for me with Expedition 33, it wasn't just the gameplay. It was everything. It was the story. It was the audio. It was just like everything culminating together to have this like super lasting experience. And I will straight up, like, I will put it akin to my first time playing Final Fantasy VII when I was like 11 years old or 12 years old. I think it is this generation's Final Fantasy VII. It has such great characters, and it was just so refreshing to play a game where it didn't rely on modern story tropes, and it didn't do like really played out things that we're just so used to seeing in games these days. And again, like, I just love how it was just like, it was a statement of art, and I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. Just unapologetic about what it was trying to do, not copying anyone, just being real, man. And doing it for the art, doing it for the culture. You can tell there's people who really care, that are involved,
You definitely can. Like, you can definitely tell what games are like decided via committee, or like have like they probably have a whole team that's just like, yeah, but how do you think the audience will perceive this? We should change it. So like, and you can also tell like a lot of modern games, like they have these like different departments that are just siloed from each other, and then they don't like see how their game works together. So like there's decisions being made where you're like, who the fuck made this like level design? Like, who did this? This does not feel conjoined or whatever. Like, I don't feel like you shouldn't feel like you're always going in the wrong direction. And then also like how some gameplay mechanics don't really work with each other. And you could definitely tell when games are just like, they're too big for themselves. And I really love that this year, not only just for us, but like Expedition 33 cleaned up at the Game Awards, and for this year, for the games that sold the most or like did the best financially, were all games that were from indie studios, and were games that were under the normal purchase rate for what games are selling for these days. Because right now the going rate for games is $70-$80 US, or in magical Canada dollars, they're like $100. $100 here for a stupid game. And it's really kick-ass that these games that are like $50, $40, $30, $20 are the ones crushing this year. And it just goes to show you that I think, especially with the economy the way it is, I think people are not as frivolous with their spending. And if you're going to get them to buy your game, it better be good. And that's why they're not so willing to buy your game that's going for $80 US. Like they're going to see what everyone else is saying. And it's cool that we picked some really niche games to win it for our year. That's going to bring us into our next segment, which is, it wouldn't be a base game review gaming award without the shame of the year.
Game of the year.
And I was really proud of us because we actually gave out some 1 out of 5 scores this year.
We did. Yeah.
Like, I would be like, ooh, I don't want to be that big of a dick. I'll give it a 2. But this year I was actually committed to giving some 1s out of 5s for some parts I thought were just really half-assed or just like not that great. But let's talk about our shame of the year. I'll start it off. For me, definitely this year, it was Avowed. And Avowed it's an Obsidian game. and it's this kind of like if you've played Skyrim or Oblivion or like any of the Bethesda games, it's one of those. And I was like, this game is so cookie cutter. This game has feels like no soul, no inspiration. It feels like a checklist being checked off. The only thing that game was decent at was like its movement and kind of some gameplay elements. But like, I just couldn't get over how dull the story was, how ugly all the characters looked, how just like dumb the whole atmosphere of the game felt. Like it was just like, what is this game trying to be? It just felt like a disjointed, I don't know, it really felt like no one had a key mission statement for what this game was supposed to be. And when you saw that game's preview at, I think it was like an Xbox event in 2020, and it was like this really cool, it was a cinematic trailer, but it had a really cool dark gritty tone, and you're like, okay, magic and like swords and stuff, and you're like, how can you go wrong? They found a way to go wrong. This game was just, I feel like it was soulless corporate slop, and that's why I gave it a score of 52 out of 100, which is just like poor. It's a bad game. It's on Game Pass. I wouldn't even play that game for free. You could offer me $1,000 right now, I wouldn't play that game again. Like, it's just, I just wouldn't do it. And my advice to anyone who is making a game is have a clear and concise vision of what you want your game to be and stick to that. Even if you have to confine your game to being a little bit smaller than how big you originally imagined it, as long as you stick to a concise vision of what the game's tone and what you want the game to accomplish, I think that'll go a lot farther than not knowing what the hell you're making and then just putting out whatever because you can.
Yeah, man. Like you said earlier about games that don't feel cohesive, almost like all the different people that worked on it were never actually in the same room at the same time together, and they're just like conference calling in, like, you know, that's kind of the impression that I'm getting from what you're saying about this. Maybe, you know, it just kind of reeks of that a little bit. Absolutely.
It's probably like, I bet you if you like, I don't know, I don't work there. I don't work at Obsidian. Apparently they've done great things, but like for me, it felt like most of the people that were working on this game have never played a video game before, and if they have, it was probably Candy Crush on their phone. Like there's something that just baffles me, and I was just like, wow, like what a shame. Like what a shame. The game plays and feels good, but it just like, it just was soulless. I don't know, it just had no emotion. It evoked nothing from me. I played it on autopilot.
As well, like I think you mentioned that the game was nothing like the trailer.
Yeah,
like it turned out very different, and like that right there is a red flag. Like
exactly
from the devs, like you're, you know, false advertising. Like you're lying to me right out of the gate.
Yeah, because what I found out with Avowed is that it was somebody at Obsidian who'd been there for a while, and they had this great idea. They were like, why don't we make Skyrim but like open world, but like with multiplayer aspects like Destiny? And I've never played Skyrim or Destiny, but it was like, okay, that's a cool concept. And then they're like, yeah, we want it to be like gritty with knights and magic, and they had all these ideas and stuff. And then they got acquired by Microsoft, and then Microsoft was like, okay, make that game you were talking about. And the guy that like had the idea, he was gone. He was just like out of there. And then so nobody could pick up the ball when it dropped. And then so they kind of just like pish-poshed and just like kind of like hobbled this game together, and then got this new game director who had previously just done some writing for some expansions for, I think, like the Outer Worlds or the Outer Wilds or something. And it just shows. It shows that like there was nobody there that had the original vision, and the game got lost into mediocrity. Like it was just, I don't know. And that's a shame. That's the story that always sucks, when someone's got the great idea, but if they're not there at the helm, then it loses its potency until it eventually becomes something completely different than it originally started out to be.
How important like a vision and a lead director is, right? To just kind of keep it all together.
Yeah.
Keep things focused.
Exactly. All right, let's see. I want to hear yours. What was your shame of the year for 2025?
Well, if we're going by lowest score, yeah, yours was about 52 out of 100, which was the lowest score we gave any game here. So well done.
I was not nice.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was Silent Hill, which I gave a 62 out of 100, which is my lowest score ever and was the second lowest score of last year. I will admit I don't have a huge history of Silent Hill games. I played the remake of 2 last year, thought it was awesome. So that was like my barrier that was my standard, right, going into this. I gave 1 the Silent Hill F as well as one of my only ones I gave out this year, and that was to the story. And boy, did that upset a lot of people. And
yeah, you got it for this, for sure.
We got some comments in our YouTube, on our video review for that, like never before. For me, yeah, the story felt completely pointless, and that was the feeling of the whole game too. It was just like I never at any point felt like the game had actually started.
Yeah.
There was no moment. There was just the pacing. I gave pacing a 1 as well. I gave pacing a 1 and story a 1 because it was just like, when does this thing start? Where am I going? What is the fucking point of any of this? I'm just running around. Weird shit starts happening. It's the classic, like, damsel in distress. You play as like a school Japanese girl in the uniform, and it's just like so lame. The combat, not just the combat, but the mechanics were just ripping off Dark Souls. I mean, it was like, I highlighted that in the video review. Like, not only the attacks, they had like there was not a parry system, but like a dodge system. The way that that Dark Souls and Miyazaki uses like rings for different stat boosts. They have like charms and it was just like, oh my god, they just like they took Dark Souls formula, tried to put it on Silent Hill, failed at everything. To the sense of lack of pace, I mean, you use melee weapons the entire fucking time, so you're just hitting things with baseball bats and wrenches, and it was just like, there's no dimension to this. Like, there's no, like, you know, maybe she can throw stones or give her like a chain that has some sort of reach. There was just no depth to the combat. It was so dull. So yeah, man, that game really, it was a grind to get through. It was short as hell, like a DLC. And on top of that, you talked about prices a few minutes ago. This game was 100 Canadian dollars before tax.
Yeah, full price game. Game.
It was more expensive than Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
And this is like an 8-hour game that is, I mean, that the whole thing takes place in a small little village and a high school. That's the whole, like, that is the extent of the game, other than some little dream world that you enter. So, I'm getting worked up talking about it, but it was just like one letdown after the next. It's just like, god damn, did they do anything right with this game? And the answer was no for me.
Yeah. I love personally that, like, Max and I will put our heart and souls into these reviews for games that we love, that like are amazing, and we put so much depth into them, and no one watches them. And then these games that we play that are just like, we don't like them, or like they're terrible. And we get so many views on this one. And it's always like the people are like fail gamer, like L take, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, Max didn't just rush through that fucking game. He played through it, and he doesn't rush through games. So he took the time to really try to understand why the game sucks. And it just wasn't a good game. And you see like a lot of the comments, and you're like, dude, that's fan fiction. Like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That wasn't in the game. And then also, a lot of people will form some kind of weird attachment to a character, and then because you don't like the game, it means like you hate the character, and then they feel like they have to defend that character to you, and you're like, shut up, like, the game sucked, like, just like get over it. And I found that funny. The same thing happened to me when I played that Chronos game, and people are
You
like,
got a lot of attention for that game, and
yeah,
not the right way though.
yeah, and they're like, Chronos is so good. It's like, no, it's not,
Yeah.
dude. No, it's not. It's not good. Like I've played good survival horror games. That game, like, it had a lot of cool concepts, and it kind of just like kind of fell through in the middle. But that's what's great about gaming, is that you're gonna have like these super polarized opinions. Like, there's people still out there who will adamantly tell you that like From Software games are not good games, and you're just like, well, okay, like, you live in a fantasy land that we can't have a discussion. There are games that I don't play. Like, even this year when I played Battlefield 6. Like, I don't play shooters, but I can have an appreciation for them, because I'm just like, okay, I see like why a lot of people align with these types of games, and there is a lot of skill that goes into being good at these games, and I can respect that. And I would never ask a game like that to bend to my skill set or my play style or my preferences because of the things that I like. I can respect it for what it is. And even when I talk about games like being game of the year, like, although Elden Ring Night Rain was a game that I put a lot of time into, I knew it was not game of the year. Like, I can see that. Like, and some people can't. So like, they have this like random game or like this niche game that to them was their like a massive game. But
Their identity. People identify with these things, and they'll just defend them to the ends of the earth, and somehow the littlest criticism makes what they hold so dear an utter failure, when it's not. It's just, we're just allowed to share ideas. That's all we're doing here.
Yeah, and it's like, make up your own review system.
Yeah, I'd love to hear,
or even use ours. We have ours up on our website.
We have a template on the website.
I always want to send that to people, and I want to see what they, and I'm like, oh, you gave it all 5s? Perfect. Yeah, that's what I thought. You just gave it perfect scores, and it's like, okay, cool.
Some of the comments for the Silent Hill F review were so big. Was like, you could have written your own review at this point. Like, why don't you? Show me your video. Like,
there's a lot of times when there's huge like autistic fucking comments that are like so massive. I'm like, I'm not reading all that. I'm like, that's a lot of words. I'm not reading all that. Sorry. Like, I'm just gonna be like, you mad, bro? that's like the perfect reply to one of those, because it's just like they just write all that. And
people got triggered.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So, story shame of the year, Avowed and Silent Hill F. You can accept your award anytime.
Yeah.
Let's move on. This is something that I just whipped up before we started this, but most hours in 2025. So this is the game that you put in the most time. You spent the most time playing this entire year. It doesn't have to be a game that you reviewed, just something that you definitely had the most hours in. I'll start it off. Elden Ring Night Rain. I did not think that I would like that game, because as soon as they announced that it was like a multiplayer type game, I have always been an offline From Software player. I never play online. I've sometimes co-opted with Max and like a couple other people. That is it. I do not PvP. I don't do any of that. So Elden Ring Night Rain just being a surprise hit out of nowhere, and I just fell in love with it. It is so addictive. It's the gameplay that I love, just cranked to 11. And my favorite parts is like playing with friends, and you can definitely see who's put their time in Elden Ring and who hasn't, because like you'll go up against these bosses and then you'll see them get hit by a lot of the attacks, and you're like, oh yeah, have you not played Elden Ring? And then they're just like, yes, I have. And you're just like, well, it doesn't look like it. And then I don't know, like, it's really cool to get good at that game, because you just like, you take the skill that you have from playing their baseline games and then you implement it in this game, and it's just so satisfying to come in clutch when both of your friends are down, and then you just gotta like solo the boss, and then you just get to lord that over them when you finish the game. So I put in over 350 hours in Elden Ring Night Rain. That is a lifetime. That's probably more hours than a lot of people play video games in an entire year. I put into a single game. I purchased it on every platform that you could buy it on. I got it on PlayStation, I got it on Xbox, and I got it on PC. Xbox, I only had an Xbox One S, and it played like dog shit on the 1S. It played at 22 frames per second. It was so choppy. It would give me motion sickness and like headaches. and I still forced my way through to get the 100% trophies on that, and I had a blast, and I'm still playing it because the DLC just came out, and I loved it. I know it didn't win any of my awards this year, but it was just the game that I've spent by far the most time into. Elden Ring Night Rain. If you have ever played any of the From Software games, I highly, highly, highly recommend you pick up Elden Ring Night Rain on whatever preferred platform that you want to play it on.
Yeah, I can tell you like that game. I've heard you talk about it. Over text, over email, now over we're using Google Video Chat. I mean, so that's so cool. And I know, both of us how big of From Software fans we both are. And so I'm happy for you, man, that like game really good, that game came out, it clicked, and it just like, you clearly just like got your time and your money's worth, and just
game's $40, by the way, people.
Yeah,
$40.
Yeah, right.
And I put so much time into it, and no microtransactions. I would have happily paid Miyazaki $10 to get the Sigurd skin, but you just get it from playing the game, and yeah, that game just crushes. And yeah, definitely, I was expecting to get like 20 hours out of the game. And be like, okay.
That's it? Really?
Yeah, I thought I'd just play it single player mode and just like, okay. Like I played it, cool. I supported them, but then I got hooked and I was like, this game is so good. I definitely understand though, if you don't have like friends that you can play with, that game does kind of suck when you got to play with randoms who don't know what they're doing. It can get very frustrating, but I know, super stoked. How about you? What was your big game for 2025?
I believe it was Ghost of Tsushima, and the reason for that is because I went for the Platinum Trophy in that game. And I like that game a lot. I also reviewed that back in the spring. The review for that's on our channel. It was a good game. But what really caught me was just the once you get deeper into a game, you get a feel for it, and you're like, okay, this is kind of fun. Let me have a look at the trophy set. Okay, I could probably do that. And for me personally, I'm just such a sucker for like collectathons, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And the platinum for that game was, I would say, easy. Like there's no like new game plus, there's no really difficult barriers. It's just go visit all the shrines, go collect all this, get all the equipment. So it was nice. You're just riding around the world on your horse, appreciating the scenery and just grabbing stuff. The Director's Cut edition came with the Ishi Island expansion pack, which is like a whole separate additional
that was the
area
DLC
in the game. Yeah, it comes with the DLC. Big chunk of the trophy is exploring that and finishing everything there. So yeah, I had a really good time with it. I think the total time was just under 80 hours to get the platinum. And yeah, it was a fun time. I really enjoyed that. Again, it was not super challenging. There were no like wanting to huck my controller moments. There was no like, oh, I missed this, so now I gotta go into New Game Plus, which did that on Sekiro.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool, man. If anyone out there is like looking for like an attainable platinum, or just likes collecting stuff in general, Ghost of Tsushima is a fun one to do that.
Nice. Yeah, like I don't know, there definitely must be a word for it, but like when you live in a game world and you just get so comfortable with it, it like you love those little chores or those little achievements that you get being in that world. I definitely felt that way with Death Stranding 2, believe it or not, because there's little menial tasks that you can do that just make life in the game easier. Like that game, I grinded for materials so I could pave the roads throughout the whole game. And then, because I knew that would just come in handy so much later, and it absolutely did. And I love little moments like that. So I could definitely align with you. It's like, like some of the collectibles are fun to do. There are definitely times where like collectibles could definitely be annoying, but I love it when a game has like a really good balance. And like we've all different, like anyone who's gotten any From Software platinums knows the trials and tribulations of like you fucked yourself
farming.
You're like you're like, oh well, I gotta get to the credits because I gotta go to the next new game cycle because I screwed myself. And That's always savage. But that's really cool. This next thing is our most accessible in 2025. So these were games that got a perfect 3 out of 3 in our accessibility scores. So these are just our bonus scores. So for colorblind options, audio cues or assist modes, or I think it's audio cues and then assist modes. And only 2 games got it, and it was Spider-Man 2 and Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Both pretty mediocre games, but hey, cool that you've got great accessibility options. I do like to see that in games, like at least like colorblind or like audio cue. I love it when they have QTE, like auto assist or like autocomplete, because isn't that the worst when you're playing a game and you don't know that it's got QTEs or like quick time events, for those who don't know, and then you put your controller down and maybe take a sip of your drink, and then it's like you missed the prompt and you're like, and then you gotta watch a cutscene all over again. You're like, the pain. But great stuff. That was it for our base game reviews, game of the year awards, or different categories for game of the year. What do you have to say about the games in 2025 or your year in gaming, Max?
Like a lot of games that I played this year, we didn't even mention because I didn't think they were that good.
Do you have a list of all the games you played this year?
I don't, but I can come up with a handful here right off the top of my head.
Let's hear it.
Like Doom: The Dark Ages, gave that around. It was somewhere in the 70s. Wu Chang, Fallen Feather.
Oh yeah.
Did not finish.
I played that for like a couple hours. I was like, nope, I can't do it.
I died over 100 times to like an early game boss, and I was just like, okay, I see what this game is trying to do. They're missing the point entirely. I don't have any time for this fake difficulty. So that was a disappointing. Oh my gosh, like there's got to be some more. A lot of games not from this year as well, but those are 2 that stand out for me overall. Like the games that I played in 2025, although there are some great games this year, and you've talked about quite a few of them. For me, it wasn't the best year in recent memory. I had to go into the backlogs, and I had to go way back. I played Red Dead Redemption 1 this year. A lot of old stuff that I was just like, okay, I know this game has a reputation. I need something good right now because these games that are coming out this year are shit in the bed right now. So that's the reason I discovered Juzon online, because it was free and I just needed a break from the stuff that was coming out this year. So overall, like good year in total of the games that I played, but of 2025 releases, like not a good year for me.
There was a lot of stinkers this year. So this is my list of games that I beat in 2025. I might be missing a couple, but I did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PC because I played it on PlayStation when it launched, and I loved every minute of that. I remember when I beat that game when it came out. Was it 2023 when it came out? Whenever it came out, I beat that game, and I like couldn't do anything for 3 days because I was just like, I was so sad. I was just like, that game was just so good, and it was so great to play again and just like do 100% of everything in it, and just and then have maximum fidelity on my hot gamer girl PC. So that was really cool. Then I played Avowed. We all know how that went. I played Spider-Man 2 on PC, and that game was hella mediocre. And I played Rise of the Ronin, which was also on PC because it was a PlayStation 5 release. And that was another, again, like a lot of people are like, oh, you love From Software games, you must love these Souls. Like, I don't. A lot of them I don't. Like they don't, like, just like Max said, they don't get the point quite right. I just found that game to be like, it was okay. It wasn't great. And then I played Monster Hunter Wilds, and that game, a lot of people loved it at first, but it had a lot of performance issues, and it's a real shame that people let their games release in such a state where like it can barely run at an acceptable pace. The frame rate was terrible. The main story was short, but it was really good. Like I just felt like it was very satisfying. It was a very simple story, but I just like after that, like forgot it. Like didn't Didn't even enter my mind at all. And then this year, because I think it was when The Last of Us show was going for season 2, so I was like, I'm gonna play these games. I always shit on them. I'm gonna play these 2 games. So I played The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, and the Part 1, great game, but like it was like I could see why it was great when it came out, because like kind of the peak of like the zombie genre in like 2010 or like 2013 when it came out. So I definitely saw like how limited some of the puzzles, the gameplay were. The Part 2 was, I don't think it hit the same marks. Like it didn't have the same amount of impact, and I felt like it relied on kind of shock to take it to that level, but it was okay. And then I played Clair Obscur Expedition 33, my game of the year. That was like March when that came out, so we're not that far in the year. Then I played the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. First time ever playing an Elder Scrolls game. I never played Skyrim. Had a fun time with that, but I definitely did watch a YouTube video of like where to get all the most OP shit like super early in the game, and I just train wrecked that whole game. Like I just like everything was just like 1 or 2 hits and they're dead, and it was just like, oh well, it was still fun to cheese the game. Then I also played Doom: The Dark Ages, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like the story was really dumb and bad, but like
really dumb.
Yeah, but I was like, is this the best Doom game I've ever played? No, but like I guess that was a game when you saw the preview, you're like, oh, this is gonna be badass, and then like it didn't land for me, like definitely. Here's a good one. I played the Die Hard arcade game from like the 90s arcade where it was all QTEs. Love that. That was fun. I also played the X-Men arcade game and beat that. That was great. Then I played Elden Ring Night Rain, and that just completely took over my life. And in between playing that, I played Final Fantasy 16 on PC, and I did all the DLCs, and I never played the DLCs on the PlayStation 5 version. Then I played Death Stranding 2, and that one was a slow burn, but I was happy when that was over, and I had a lot of mixed feelings about that. Then I played Chronos: The New Dawn, and that game was meh. I would like to play Silent Hill 2 remake and then just like see how big the difference in quality is. But I definitely felt like Chronos: The New Dawn had a lot of cool ideas, just didn't know how to stick the landing. I played Battlefield 6. I don't play shooters. I'm terrible at them. And I still play the Battlefield 6 multiplayer with some friends, even though I'm terrible. Like I will be point blank shooting someone in the face with a shotgun and they still kill me, and I'm just like, fuck this game. I just want to like that. I definitely can see why some dudes like throw their controllers or smash their shit, because that is like the only game that has ever evoked that emotion for me. And just recently I finished Ninja Gaiden 4. Great action game. I'm working on my review for that. Definitely, I wish that game was around when I was like 13 years old and like in my peak anime phase. Definitely good vibes, but it was just refreshing to play an action game that wasn't trying to be a Souls-like. So a lot of those. And then the Night Rain DLC obviously has been absorbing my life. Some games that I tried out was Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and like I mentioned earlier, I played like a couple hours of it, and I was like, no, all right, I can already tell what type of game this is going to be, and I was just like not having it. And I'm sure there's more that I played Arc Raiders. Very cool extraction shooter. Again, I'm just terrible. I'm terrible at that game. I don't have the skill ceiling for it, and I gave up because what players will do is at first it was like, oh, you're dropped in this world and there's machines that are trying to kill you, but there's also other players who can either kill you or they can work with you. And at first people were like, okay, we're not hostile, and they'd be friendly. And now people just shoot you on sight. And then what they'll do is they'll wait for you at the extraction point and they'll just murder you there and steal all your stuff. So you won't be able to complete any missions or do anything. And you're like, I'm not good enough. Not good enough to play this game. So I got to quit. And I got to like level 13 or 15 and I just kept dying and I would lose all my good shit. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And so I quit that game. But good stuff. Good year.
I I've got our channel's videos up here, and I'm just having a look at all the games that we reviewed together. And so, yeah, there were for me quite a few games, yeah, that weren't released this year, but I still want to go over a couple of these just to mention them. So, Dragon Quest 3. Some of these are so bad they've just like exited my memory.
Yeah.
So, and this is almost 11 months. This is 11 months ago at this point. Yeah. So the Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. I really did not connect with that. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Yeah, that was a very cool game. So we have a first impressions of that on the site. That was a game, you just finished talking about difficulty and barrier for entry. That was a game I just had to stop playing because the platforming was just it was just too hard for me. I just like couldn't get good enough at it to complete the game. But it was a very cool game, like very cool boss fights, great art style, great audio. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Check that out if you're looking for a challenge.
I definitely feel like that was the dumbest thing ever to release that game at $70. That game should have always launched at $40 or even $20, dude, and way more people would have played it because it was good. But at like $70 good, I don't think so. But
yeah,
really
totally. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, not big enough, but. Holy shit, look at this. The Visions of Mana reviews just broke 2.4K views. Where did those views come from? That's interesting. Maybe because I mentioned it. I feel like because I mentioned it in the Ghost of Yote review, it got a bit of traction. But like, dude, I had no idea that game has broke that many views at this point. Interesting. That was a cool game. People that are into like anime or just like a classic, just that not turn-based, but just that feeling of just cool old school RPG where you go on a big grand adventure. You got fun characters. That was a cool game. The story wasn't the best, but there's a lot there for people that are into that genre for sure. Oh yeah, and I played Eco on the PS2 release.
Yeah.
We have a review for that. I used our retro review template to review Eco. The game that inspired our man Miyazaki to get into gaming in the first place, and it just absolutely oozes from software all throughout the entire game, from the art direction to the gameplay to just the atmosphere. Oh my god, if you're into From Software games, do yourself a favor and play Eco, please. I did a first impressions for Tactics Ogre, which is a grid-based tactical RPG. Didn't finish it. It was just our caption is too much. That's just how I felt about the whole thing. It just went on forever. The story was very involved. It was just. And then the other ones. Oh yeah, the last one I haven't mentioned, Sandland. Any Dragon Ball fans out there? Our boy Akira Toriyama. This was the last thing he worked on before he passed away. And that's a really fun game. It has Armored Core elements in it where you have like different vehicles that you control and you can upgrade them and you collect parts for them and you fight in them. Very cool. So they mixed like Armored Core with like Dragon Ball art style in a big open world. Not an amazing game, but lots of good ideas in there. So that's another, that was a lot of fun. And then just one final one, Phobia. St. Dinfa Hotel, which is a survival horror, very Resident Evil inspired style game, which I couldn't finish because it just broke. The game the controls failed me. It literally broke. There was a boss early in the game that was just next to impossible to get through. Indie title that you could tell a lot of hard work and passion went into, but they just didn't have the skill set to even finish and polish a complete project is what it felt like. So great, really very cool atmosphere. I mean, you could get through that game if you're willing to just like bash your fucking head against a wall and like deal with literal broken controls, but it wasn't worth it for me. Started out strong, but just unfortunately couldn't get through it.
I'm really glad that this year that you and I both were like, we're not gonna force our way through some games that we know we're not enjoying, because like, why do all that just to turn out a review where it's just like the game's shit and we don't like it? And it's just like no one wants to see that. Well, maybe some people do, but like I got better things to do, and there's better games that I want to play, and I want to have a good time with the limited time that I do have to game, and I don't want to be playing shit that I'm not enjoying. So I'm glad that there are games that we just we flush. Like after a couple hours, we're like, okay, no, this is not happening.
And that's cool that we have that, that first impressions template there, because sometimes, I don't know about you, but for me, almost like it's the games that hit me the wrong way that I feel like I want to talk about the most, because it just really gets me going, where I'm like, I really need to say something about this. And when we have that first impressions template where we can just hey, look, be honest, we didn't finish this game, we started it, this is what worked, what didn't work, worth continuing. That's essentially what those videos are, and that's a really cool way for us to put out content, and then for the audience to just at least get a taste.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Great. Well, unless you have anything else to add, I think that's it for our award show for the year. We're both looking forward to 2026 and reviewing more games. I have been slacking as lately, and I want to try to refine my stuff so I can get reviews out a lot easier. But we just hit our 500 subscriber mark. That's very exciting. Thanks to let's give a shout out to Max for all the work that he puts into the channel. He's been crushing reviews out, and then also all the engagement that Max has been doing with the audience. I think it's just amazing.
Those are fun.
That's what got us to 500. I think it's gonna be a killer year. There's gonna be some big releases this year, and I'm always looking forward to refining the system and then just checking out new games, because I went from someone who only played Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, and that's all I would play, and now I played so many games, and now when I play new games, I'm like, oh, I can kind of see where they're coming from, or oh, I get it, they're trying to do this, and it just gives me a more well-rounded opinion of different games. So how about you? Are you looking forward to 2026, Max?
I am so much this year about gaming, about video, about my writing style, about efficiency. So I'm so excited this year to just put out lots of great content, play lots of games, and just and interact with the fans, and it's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah. And maybe we'll do this not every week or something. Maybe we'll do this once in a while where we just come together and talk about stuff, because that was always fun to do too.
Yeah, these are great. Yeah, these face-to-face catch-ups, right? Because we don't live in the same city, so we never get to actually hang out. Even though we talk nearly every day, there's not enough of this. So I
definitely want to try to make my way into town more this year, and you and I got to connect and do something in person. It'll be fun.
We definitely will.
Cool. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. But if you're watching this, we appreciate you, and please check out more base game reviews. And then also go to our website, basegamereviews.com, and check out our written reviews there, and then also all our cool tools that we made all nerdy for all of you guys. But
make your own reviews. We have a template.
Exactly.
We'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts about the games we haven't even played, or tell us what where we were wrong about our reviews, and use our template and let us know.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, definitely make sure that you like and subscribe and comment down below. Well, that's going to be it for me. Max, send us off.
For following us along on this journey, and we're really looking forward to a strong 2026. Max and Jimmy signing out. Peace.